Awareness of God's presence is like a lamp. It must be turned on to enjoy the light. Top of the morning to you. So when reading Psalm 16 with the eyes of love, the psalmist builds a case on why we should stay sharply aware of God's presence in our lives, why it's important to stay aware of His presence in us, keeping close to Him and ignoring all distractions. Anything less than this moment-by-moment awareness puts us in danger of becoming influenced by false gods or idolatry. Basically, anything or anyone who gets our attention more than God is an idol in our heart. We must agree with the psalmist when he says in verse 2, "I say to the Lord, you are my Lord. I have no good beside or beyond you." This awareness came to the psalmist after much time depending on God to protect him, being a refuge and putting his trust in God to the point that he says he hides himself in God. Verse 5, "The Lord is my chosen." Now that's a statement of fact. He describes this relationship in verse 7. God gives him counsel. In fact, verse 8 says, "I have set the Lord continually before me." Now this is an act of the psalmist's will. It's a choice. Out of all the distractions in the world, he chooses to be constantly aware of God's presence, to the point that it's as natural as using his right hand. It just happens without thought. And he refuses to not keep aware. Why? Verse 9, "When he does this, his heart is glad, great joy. My inner self rejoices." Not all depressed and anxious. My body too shall rest, and then there's times of peace that he gets from confidently dwelling in safety. Why is he confident? Verse 10, "You will not abandon me." He has come to depend on God in verse 11 to show him the path of life in a joyful, natural way that is filled with pleasures forevermore. So the word of encouragement today is, why would we not want this experience? It's possible today. All it requires is a desire to maintain a connection that's in the on position as much as possible. Sort of like a lamp that is always tied to electricity, but in the off position more than the on position. We need to keep our switch flipped on when it comes to being aware of God's presence in our life. Don't be satisfied with just potential. Be aware of God's presence today, and have a great day.